You know that feeling when you find something in your house that belonged to someone who lived there before you? A name scratched into a doorframe, a coin behind a radiator, a tiny proof that someone else stood exactly where you're standing and felt something you'll never know.
Now imagine that feeling, but for an entire civilization.
A whole way of life, buried under new growth. And one afternoon, a girl finds a crack in the wall, and everything she thought she knew starts to shift. The year is 2059. Outside what used to be Columbus, Ohio, there's a forest that didn't exist 30 years ago. Beneath it, if you know where to look, are the bones of a suburb. Streets turn to trails, driveways turn to meadows. The trees grew back because nobody needed the houses anymore. Sable Okafor is 16, and she's never held a paper book. She's never paid for anything, because nobody pays. The 3 engines made that unnecessary. AI thinks, robots build, and fusion energy powers it all. Food, housing, healthcare, education. It's just there. Like oxygen.
Inside the cracked wall panel, she finds a note, handwritten, actual ink on actual paper.
It says, "We kept everything. The schedules, the bills, the worry. We kept it all, so you wouldn't have to. I hope you know what to do with the quiet." June 2031.
Sable doesn't understand the note.
Bills, schedules, worry. She knows the words the way you might know the word telegraph. Historically, not viscerally. She finished her civic service training last year, learning how the fusion grid works, how to override an algorithm when it misses what matters. After that, she's free. Most people retire around 24. She's got her whole life ahead of her. But the note nags at her. I hope you know what to do with the quiet.
Sable realizes she doesn't.
Her life is comfortable. The foundation handles the 90%. But the remaining 10%, the part where you push yourself because you want to, she hasn't found that yet. She has everything except a reason to reach. She starts digging, not in the dirt, but in the archives. She finds June Kowalski, born 1987, house cleaner, then solar panel installer during the early transition. June lived in this exact spot when it was still a suburb. She wrote that note the year the first free zone opened in Ohio, a neighborhood where housing and food were provided for free, no questions asked. June had been terrified, not just poverty. The foundation was already catching people. She was terrified of the quiet. After decades on the hamster wheel, that old work-earn-spend cycle built when the telegraph was cutting edge, she didn't know who she was without the exhaustion. The worry wasn't just a burden. It was an identity.
Tucked behind the note, Sable finds a key.
Brass, old-fashioned. It fits no lock she's ever seen.
Because the locks are gone. Doors don't lock anymore.
There's nothing to steal when everything is provided. But June kept it anyway. A key to a house that became a forest. A key to a life defined by what you might lose. And here's what Sable finally understands, the thing June was really asking. It wasn't, do you know what to do with the quiet? It was, did we lose something worth keeping? The fear, the hustle, the desperate scramble. It was brutal, but it also made people build and fight and hold each other close against the dark. Does comfort make us hollow, or does it finally give us room to fill ourselves with something better?
Sable pockets the key. She'll never use it to open a door.
But she'll carry it, not as nostalgia for the pain, but as a reminder that the people who came before her didn't just survive. They chose to let go of a world built on fear, even when fear was the only thing that felt real. The tradition worth preserving isn't the suffering, it's the courage it took to stop. Maybe that's the real inheritance, not the key, not the worry, not the world that was, but the question June left behind, folded into a wall for a girl she'd never meet. Now that you're free, what will you build? That's the world Unscarcity imagines. Not a world without struggle, a world where you get to choose your own. If Sable's question is sitting in your chest right now, the book goes deeper. Find it on Amazon or at unscarcity.ai, where an AI trained on the entire universe can walk you through what comes next.